Mel Jones. And signing for us this afternoon, we'll have Jeff first.
Hello. Hello.
Mark, Superman Mark is running. You'll have a microphone very shortly.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes.
So welcome all three of you to London. Thank you very much for coming to Comic-Con to share your NCIS tales with us. Now, NCIS is huge globally. I love the way you're laughing already.
I just got a flashback of us doing a similar panel 2 years ago, and us dancing.
Oh,
Someone said to me in the signing today that we did some sort of a dance, and
I had forgotten about it until I
forgot
just got here, and
we did some sort
cringed.
of buffalo
My mind, I had a cringe.
tap dance. Anyway,
A tap
Anyway,
dance?
I know.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I wish you
Maybe if
would.
you get us drunk enough, we'll do it again.
I can sense everybody going, do you want to do that again just so I can...
No. Yes.
Maybe a slow
Maybe.
dance.
Barrett,
Slow dance.
You guys can slow dance.
Well,
I'll just watch from the side.
Barrett on the catwalk like a Zoolander move, like.
I think that's how it started though. It actually
Yeah.
started, I think we were going to do the fashion show and then it ended up...
Yeah, walk the catwalk. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna do that again.
I wasn't going to bring that up actually, I was going to just completely stay well away from that.
Oh.
Just so they didn't get ideas. But in terms of the show for all three of you, what does it kind of mean to come out to an event like this and to see the response that you get from the fans?
I think that's the cool thing about being a part of the NCIS family, that it reaches so many people across the world, which is insane. And I know we all feel so fortunate to be a part of that, and it's so cool. The coolest part, I think, for all of us in this is to get a chance to interact with the fans, the people who support and kind of make the show what it is.
Well said.
No.
I second that emotion.
And all three of your characters kind of have similarity in that you're all very technically literate, you're all very geeky, and you're all very driven in that kind of area. How much of that knowledge do you have in your own personal lives? And how difficult did you find it to suddenly be able to say or speak or do the text speak as easily as you make it appear on the show?
Well, I will say that when I rehearse my lines, it's all about repetition because these words are foreign to me, and I have to research what it is that I'm talking about. We were in a panel not too long ago, I can't remember who said it, but someone was saying that they don't even research what it is that they're talking about because they just remember the rhythm of the language, and everyone has a different way of working. But for me, I have to kind of research what it is I'm talking about, and so I can remember the concepts. And then, yes, I might look a little crazy because I'll be in the supermarket just talking to myself, packing my cart, and it's just about the muscle memory, really, because these technical subjects are kind of foreign to us. So yeah, we have to do a lot of work on that end, for sure.
And when you first get the lines, do you ever look at them and think, oh my God.
That's funny.
That's funny. Not again. I wouldn't say not again because
The procedural is again and again and again. That's the design of the show.
That's what it is.
Right.
Our show always basically starts with us to briefing the team, and so there's always a chunky Nell, Eric kind of thing where we're spitting it out. But also just to make it easier on everyone, I think the writers are also realizing what if we just don't give it all to these two people and we spread it out into
a full scene.
And so that just keeps everyone's involved instead of just people like listening to us talk for
Right.
5 pages.
Right. We get really excited when we have a scene where we're actually human beings and talking to each other. And we're not just these little computer, like, you know, bugs running around the op center.
Spitting on information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Computer bugs.
Yeah,
bugs.
computer bugs.
Computer bugs.
I don't know.
It's
I
like
just
some word
made that up.
bugs. No, when we're having like a little flirty kind of flirtatious scene, or a will they, won't they, or some talk about
Heady,
food.
Yeah, food in the op center. Those are our favorite scenes to play.
And also, it's interesting how much that comes so much more quickly in terms of memorization.
Oh yeah, because it's a conversation, so you're able to, memorize the theme of the conversation rather than these kind of big, intimidating concepts, technical concepts.
And when you listen to, I say something and then she responds. And
It
then
prompts the
like,
next
thing.
idea.
Oh, okay, and so it's like you're just listening a little bit more instead of kind of, here's the paragraph, I'm looking at it, I'm reading it in my mind,
Yeah.
trying to get it out, so
Yeah.
it looks natural.
But it's interesting, like when, I'm sure, Emily, you probably have this experience too. The more nervous you get, the worse
So much
worse the
worse.
experience is. So if you just relax and kind of breathe into it, with anything in life,
Yeah.
then it's exponentially easier to spit out.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
I think the goal for that kind of jargon is to make it come across as like human as possible, and rather than just spitting it out, kind of taking your time with it.
Exactly. It's the struggle.
It's a skill, it's definitely a skill set.
The struggle is real, folks.
And that's one of the things I think appeals to NCIS fans across both shows is there's not just action. There actually is a lot of character development. We get to see a lot of the human sides of the characters when they happen. Do you actually have an input into what that human side is and that backstory is, or how have you helped shape that, if you do?
I think the writers on both of our shows are really wonderful, and I think that a lot of it comes from them. I also think that they kind of are very aware of human behavior, and they probably watch how we behave in our normal lives, and I think probably add that into the scripts. And when they do that, I notice it. I'm like, oh yes, I'm glad they picked up on that, because it's fun. I think that's the part of the success of the show. Both of our shows is that humor is such an important element in our shows.
Yes.
So I love when that happens.
Mm-hmm. When they kind of see something that you're doing naturally, and then it becomes part of the character. Because really, the characters are extensions of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not playing, this character that's so far away. We don't have a prosthetic on. We're not walking with a limp. We don't have this external characterization. It is, I look very similar to Nell, and Nell looks similar to me. And, so when we're able to kind of put ourselves and channel maybe a portion of our personality into, the character, I think that's when they're really successful, and that's when they kind of pop off the screen, and that's when you feel like you know these people.
And then it becomes a symbiotic relationship with you and the writer, the actor and the writer, and we're kind of helping each other. Like they see our behaviors and then they write towards that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric Beale, my character, was not kind of as necessarily nerdy and nervous at first, but then when they introduced this one, it was a kind of a fun thing to play into, that he gets kind of bumbling around her, and I think I played into that, and the writers played into that, and then it just kind of becomes like a little volley that we have. And so it's fun to open up a script and be like, oh yes, they get me, they get my sense of humor, they get that I do this quirky, awkward thing well, and it seems like you guys like that too. And then it's her something to play off of, and
Right.
she can roll her eyes and go, this one.
Yeah.
So it's just everything feeds itself, especially on shows like this, to have like a great trajectory, and we have years and years to build.
Develop, build. And our writers are cool too. Like sometimes I will, kind of swap out words or language or kind of add in a button to a scene, and they're receptive to that. If it a button, like an ending to like the end of a scene. Sometimes needs like a little punctuation. Kind of just feels like it's kind of hanging out in limbo. So we need to like kind of put a little punctuation on the end.
Give it a rim shot.
Give it a ching. So we enjoy doing that, and thankfully they're receptive to it. Very nice sound effects from Barrett Foa.
I will now be beatboxing.
I was excited to see that, actually.
A little vocal percussion.
Yeah.
VP.
Barrett was part of an a cappella group in college.
In high school.
Oh, excuse me.
A cappella group. Who here was in an a cappella group?
A cappella.
No one?
Oh, we have a friend and a participant.
Yeah, it was called Sweet and Low. You were terrible.
No, I'm sure you were.
I was one of 2 boys in it, and then the second year we had 3 boys. It was great.
Nice.
For the longest time.
I'm
just gonna list our.
Come on, Barrett. Longest time.
We did a little Under the Boardwalk. Under the Boardwalk.
Yes. He doesn't take much encouraging, okay?
It doesn't take a lot to get me dancing or singing. Or taking off my blazer.
That catwalk.
Let's get wild.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your blazers.
There you guys are.
Hey!
You're out there somewhere.
Well, you have a question from a lady at the phone microphone?
Hi.
Hey!
Such a dramatic reveal.
Poison ivy. Yes.
My question is, obviously NCIS is very military. Have any of you wanted to be in the military before, or ever thought about it?
Interesting.
I have not. I mean, personally, I haven't. It hasn't been a thing for me.
No.
But
I don't think I ever had either. Although I had a very good friend of mine in high school who went on to our kind of Army Academy, West Point. So he was very involved in it, and I kind of saw it through him and this very regimented education and training. It's intense. I don't think I'm cut out for it. I'm a little more spontaneous and yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for it personally.
I don't think I know anyone in the military.
Wow.
Like a friend or a family member, like a close
Mm.
person. I'm actually trying to think of that, and that's so strange to me that I just realized that.
Mm.
But it's also interesting that I've learned a lot about the military through this. The different ranks, the fact that we are civilians that are basically the police of the Navy unit of the United States military. So I don't know that exists.
Yeah.
And also that LL Cool J's character, Todd, sorry, what's his name? Todd Smith. LL Cool J's character,
Sam Hanna.
is he's the only one of us that has been in the military as a Navy SEAL, which is the very highly specialized Navy personnel. So he brings a little bit more of that, but we are these like civilians and intelligence analysts and a tech operator and just special agents,
Right.
who haven't necessarily been in the military. And it's just an interesting kind of spin on how it all kind of works.
Yeah.
And is it weird working with the fake dead bodies?
That's
We don't
for
have
you.
a lot of that on our show, but
We
this
see a lot
show,
of pictures of them.
yes.
Connie Weaves.
Oh, yeah. Connie Weaves.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. I mean, it's amazing what they can do to these bodies. It's insane. Like a person will walk in, someone who's hired, or someone who's been killed on the show, or they're hired as a dead body, and they walk in and you meet them and they're like totally normal, and they have
And
like
alive.
color in their face and everything. And then like a couple hours later, you're like, you go in to do the scene and you're in autopsy and they're lying there on the table and they're like, oh hey, and they've got like, you know, the thing over them and their face is like so gray and dead looking, or they have like a bullet hole, or they have it's insane. Like, I think the way our makeup people are able to make them really look dead is always, it amazes me every time. I'm like,
They're so talented, the makeup artists on the shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really pull it off.
Yeah.
What's it like working on set with Michael Weatherly?
Oh, with Michael. Well,
We can both answer that
yeah,
question actually now.
yeah. You guys, they just got to work with the amazingly talented, hysterically funny Michael Weatherly. How was your
We
experience
did
with
a
that?
crossover that we just shot. that
It'll
will be
air next season.
Airing next season, season 7. So that's our first crossover with him in 7 years, and we've been waiting 7 years for this episode, and it was so unique to have it was special to have someone with that experience of a completely different show, but a sister show to us, and just have his, again, like hilarious shenanigans,
Antics.
tales, and
He's a great storyteller, like we were saying the other day. Yeah, he's very entertaining. He's always kind of, on. He's a showman in all ways.
I feel like he could kind of be a stand-up comedian. I mean,
Yeah.
he just, because he's so funny and because he's such a great storyteller,
Yeah.
I mean, should probably
He
do
feeds
that.
off of an audience too. So, we were his audience basically on set.
Yep.
And he was putting on a show, and it's pretty great.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
On the original NCIS, who is the most fun on set?
Oh, okay.
Great question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Everyone, I have such a great time with everyone on set. They're all so fun to work with. But, Michael Weatherly is by far the funniest person. He just is cracking jokes left and right. You can't really get him to stop. He's the funniest.
Do you have most of your scenes with him?
I have most of my scenes with Michael, Sean, and Mark, but a lot, especially this season, it was heavy with Michael. So I was just laughing the entire season.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good way to go to work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I have 2 questions. For now, first of all, I don't remember the season, but there was one particular episode where you were in the boat chat with a suspect, and he attacked you.
Oh, yes.
How did you feel to come out of your techno shell and defend yourself and control the guy? I remember me and my daughter were watching, and we were just, oh my
Yes. That was a great episode, and you remembered it with such beautiful details. So that's really amazing. I love that. That was really fun. I was basically, we choreographed that fight a couple days before we actually shot it. So I practiced it over the weekend, and I grew up dancing. I was a dancer, and so it was like choreography. It was like all the moves. I had to remember the sequence, and actually when we went to do it, fun fact, I almost passed out because there was a choke move in the fight, and the guy, basically, he was a little too high up on my neck, and he almost choked me out, like for reals. So I lived through it. I didn't pass out, but I was really dizzy, and had to bring some water, and I was like, guys, I think I almost passed out. So let's adjust the choke move. But it was really fun and exhausting. My body hurt. I was sore for days. My arms, it hurt to lift my arms up. Because it was a really intense fight scene. I had a knife, and we learned that Nell has all these knife skills, and it was probably written by Dave Halstein because he puts a knife in everyone's hand. He's one of our writers, and he's also a martial artist himself and knows weapons and stuff, so. But
Knives.
Yeah.
Anyone kukri? Okay.
But yeah, it was fun, and I got to kind of exercise those kind of fight choreography muscles. I did fight choreography in school, like in theater school, broadsword, you know, so it was cool.
Advance. Retreat.
Exactly.
Advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. I studied here in London, not sorry about that.
I love that. But to answer your question, I loved it. I had a great time, and I think I slept really well that night after filming. But it was a great experience.
It was an amazing episode. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next question is for Eric. Barrett. Do you know in every scene you have a different way of calling the attention of the team?
Mm-hmm.
Do you suggest the writers ever, or do they always find their own ways?
The different whistles. So Eric has this thing where he whistles up the agents to the op center to call them into the briefing session. And it was something that was in I think the first episode, if not the second, that Shane Brennan, our creator, wrote in, and I saw that and, you know, was definitely like, I don't know how to whistle. So I can be like, but they're like, no, we don't want that, we want one of these. And
It's really hard to do.
I practiced it, and anyway, so they just have to, they put it in later.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's really hard. But Eric has also really creative ways of like telling the team to come upstairs.
Exactly. So now it's become, from that, it's just become like a crazy joke where it's just anything that the writers can think of, like any kind of whistle, any kind of
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick, like, you know, if there's any kind of theme that, you know, if they realize that the show will fall on a certain holiday or around a certain holiday, you know, I think there was some like jingle bells for the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, all kinds of craziness. And
You get the fun stuff.
It's very fun, and I like that he's just such a dork. He just cannot be cool. So he's always saying something really stupid.
But the dorks are the ones who have fun.
Absolutely, I love it. I love playing into that. And,
Yeah.
and playing against, you know, the coolness of the 4 special agents.
Right.
I just got a flash of when they were talking about tattoos, and I almost don't want to remind you of this, but Eric has a tattoo. Do you remember this? Eric has a tattoo of
Albert Einstein? Oh, wow.
Albert Einstein.
Right?
Yes, it's equals MC squared.
Yes.
It's a little like cartoon Albert Einstein.
It's really cool. I actually think it's like a rad tattoo.
Wouldn't have chosen it for me.
All right.
But Eric Bill seemed to like it. He thought it was a good idea at the time. Maybe it was in college. He was drunk.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I had a question for Elle, but someone answered it already, so it was about the nose zone.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask if it's fun offset as much as in the character, but you already answered.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. He so is. He so
Cool.
is.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What else?
Have we got one more on the other mic?
Okay.
We've seen Nell go through a lot of different things in the field, whether she's been captured or tagged in the interrogation room in the boathouse. Have any of you guys ever felt, or your characters ever felt, very vulnerable doing something either in the field or in the office at any point during any of the seasons that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Bishop was kind of was on this guy, Venom Parsa, who I think you guys are up to that part of the season, yeah, for a while, and when she finally gets to see him in person and meet him and be face to face with him, they're like in this little tiny room, and I just remember feeling just very, I mean, you know, he's a terrorist, so it was like a very, very scary moment, I think, for Bishop. in that season, and I definitely felt it. I mean, I felt scared and I felt nervous. I was like, this guy could definitely kill me with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
It's an intimidating
very
pairing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Go.
It's
you.
I mean, Eric is not in the line of fire hardly ever, but there were 2 times this season where bullets. I'm dodging some bullets on a rooftop, which was really
Oh, that was great.
cool.
All the stuff on the roof looked really
I'm
great
like,
too.
oh, that's what these things. I was like, that's what the 4 agents are doing all the
All
time.
the time.
Do you feel like when people, even though like obviously the guns are fake, do you feel like, because I always get kind of scared right before I shoot
Me too.
one of the guns on set, right? But if they're coming at you also, like I always, our cameramen wear these like plastic things over their guards, over their faces so they don't get
The shells.
Yeah. But I always get so scared. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like something's in this fake
I
gun.
know. I do too. And our props guys are great because they
Wonderful.
show you the empty barrel.
Yeah.
But it's just that
It's
guttural
like mental.
human instinct
Yeah.
that someone's coming at you with a gun. You're like, whoa, yeah,
We're
this.
play acting here, but
Yeah.
it looks real. It sounds real.
It's always
Right.
scary to me.
Yeah.
Right. It is intimidating for sure.
There was another cool moment with having like a poison needle stuck into my neck, which was
Oh yeah.
which was really cool, and it was on our home base, like our home turf in the headquarters, where I got taken hostage, and it was the first time I had a stunt double, which was really cool. When someone he knocks my head against a wall, and it was cool. Like it was cool to watch and be like, I don't remember doing that part.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's not me. You like really look closely, you're like, oh, that's not me. But like it just looked,
It cuts together so well.
The editors are so great, and like, but it was also a kind of small funny story. When there was this needle in my neck, it was a retractable needle, clearly, of poison.
Yeah.
So I couldn't feel when this bad guy, shoved it in, but clearly the character should be able to feel that if a needle goes deeper into your neck. So I was like, oh, we need to figure out how we're gonna do this because I can't react because I don't know when it's going in or not.
So he like kind of cued you.
So he was like this, and he kind of like
Pressed
squeezed
on
my
that.
shoulder.
Oh, that feels
He
good.
was doing this. It's like a little kind of cue system. Just all these little secrets. Without the DVD.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Take
you.
another? Yes.
And there we have. But before we go though, LL Cool J currently has a series of lip sync battles. Now, if each of you were to go on the show, what one song would you lip sync to and why?
Now we've talked about this and we are all pushing for an NCIS LA face-off. So if that excites anyone, start writing in Twitter, whatever else, what other forms of social media you can find.
MySpace.
Get on that MySpace. Friendster. What would you do? What would you? Oh, that's a really tough question because there's so many great songs.
It's kind of hard.
It's
in
I
the
mean,
moment to think about.
I know. Well, what's your go-to karaoke song? Do you have one?
Turn around.
Oh, yes.
That
That's actually was one of my audition songs. Yeah, I got a few callbacks on it.
You could do kind of schizophrenic, like, this is the guy and the girl, turn around.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. I'm into that. I'm also into like a No Diggity, No Doubt.
Oh yeah.
Blackstreet, circa like 1998.
Specific.
Come
No
on,
And
there's no diggity, no doubt. Oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey oh.
I was playing at the club last night.
Was it? Yeah. Emily, come on. It's tough.
Maybe a good like a, what's that song, like Hooked on Feeling?
Yeah.
Hooked on feeling. Ooh,
Yeah.
That's a sweet
Feel
one.
good, you know?
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Feel good song.
Right. Oh, you have another one? No?
We could go on. For
We
days.
could go on for days. This might work itself into a karaoke night if you let us really go for it. I don't know if you want that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, join us in the massive round of applause for NCIS.